Have you ever wondered why some parents remain deeply respected by their children well into their 70s and 80s, while others slowly lose that sense of honor, connection, and emotional closeness? It's a question many seniors in America quietly carry, especially when they begin to feel the gap between themselves and their adult children growing wider. Today, we are opening this journey with a powerful truth: respect in later life is not something that simply happens. It is shaped, built, and maintained through daily habits that psychology, family research, and countless real-life stories have revealed as essential for emotional longevity. And in this opening section, I want to take you into one of those stories. Let's talk about Eleanor Parker, a 76-year-old mother from Madison, Wisconsin. When I interviewed her last summer, she laughed softly and said, "If only people knew that respect isn't about age, it's about behavior." Eleanor used to struggle with her relationship with her son, Michael. After the passing of her husband, she became more controlling without realizing it. She constantly corrected Michael, questioned every decision he made, and unknowingly slipped into behaviors that psychologists classify under the 10 characteristics of highly toxic parents, a harsh term, but one that science uses to describe patterns, not people. Eleanor didn't consider herself a toxic parent at all. She was grieving, scared, and lonely. But as she told me, respect fades quietly, like dust settling. You don't see it until it's everywhere. What changed? She learned the 6 psychology principles behind emotional respect and applied what experts call the 4 parenting foundations of later life relationships. These include mindful communication, emotional autonomy, balanced boundaries, and the ability to adapt. Her story is just one example of how deeply habits matter, especially in your senior years. And as we explore this topic, you'll see how 10 characteristics of respected elders differ dramatically from the patterns found in highly toxic parents. Understanding these differences may be the one thing that protects your bond with your children. But let me ask you this: how do respectful, loving parent-child relationships survive the pressures of aging, financial stress, family distance, or unspoken resentment? Research from Stanford Center on Longevity found that strong late-life family relationships share 9 signs of emotional resilience, many of which you'll learn throughout this video. The first sign is self-awareness, something many seniors overlook because they believe respect should automatically come with age. Yet the characteristics of highly respected parents show the opposite. They continually adapt, evolve, and learn. In this video, you'll discover not just ideas, but how to put these habits into action in your everyday life. Because the truth is simple: respect in later life is not a gift, it's a practice. And by the time you finish this entire script, you will know exactly how the strongest, most admired elders maintain deep emotional respect from their adult children, no matter how complicated the past may have been. Habit number 1: keeping emotional space and respecting boundaries. The first habit that keeps parents respected in later life is something surprisingly simple yet deeply powerful: maintaining emotional space and honoring boundaries. Many seniors don't realize that as children become adults, with their own homes, jobs, marriages, and pressures, they no longer respond the same way they did 20 or 30 years ago. The foundation of late-life respect is built, in part, on the ability to step back, breathe, and allow your children to make decisions without feeling judged or controlled. This idea is strongly supported by the 6 psychology principles used in family therapy, especially the principle of autonomy protection, which states that adult children maintain stronger emotional ties when they feel their independence is respected. To understand this better, let me bring you into the story of Howard Mitchell, a 71-year-old father from Mesa, Arizona. Howard told me he never understood why his daughter, Jenna, used to avoid calling him back. He interpreted the silence as disrespect, even abandonment. But the reality was different. Jenna once revealed that every time she called, her father would give unsolicited advice, or worse, criticize who she dated, how she parented, or how she managed her finances. Howard said, "I thought I was helping. I didn't know I was suffocating her." When he finally saw a counselor, he learned about the 4 parenting foundations for aging parents, and the one that struck him hardest was supporting without directing. After making changes, he noticed something uplifting. Jenna began calling more often, not out of obligation, but out of genuine warmth. This change is no coincidence. Research from the University of Michigan shows that parents who adjust their communication style in later life reflect the 10 characteristics of respected elders, while those who cling to old patterns often develop the 9 signs associated with strained parent-adult-child relationships. The shift is subtle but life-changing. It's not about being silent or distant, it's about choosing the right moments to speak and knowing when to simply listen. This is a key difference between the characteristics of highly respected parents and the 10 characteristics of highly toxic ones. Toxic parents overstep boundaries, attempt to control every outcome, and believe they know best in every situation. Respected parents, on the other hand, understand the rhythm of communication and the balance of emotional space. So, how do you build this habit in daily life? It begins with awareness. Before you comment, correct, or advise, pause and ask yourself, are they asking for guidance or simply sharing their life? This small internal question can transform an entire relationship. Psychologists call it mindful restraint, and it is considered one thing that can shift family dynamics more than almost anything else. As you start applying these ideas, you'll notice something remarkable. Your children become more relaxed around you. They'll open up more. They'll ask for your opinion, not because they feel obligated, but because they feel safe. And that is the heart of deep late-life respect, safety, trust, and emotional freedom. Habit number 2, communicating with warmth instead of authority. If there is one habit that determines whether respect grows or fades in later life, it is this: communicating with warmth instead of authority. Many parents don't realize that the tone they use, more than the words themselves, shapes how their adult children feel around them. When you speak with gentleness, curiosity, and genuine interest, your children experience you as emotionally safe. But when you speak with dominance, correction, or subtle pressure, even if unintentional, they may withdraw, distance themselves, or become guarded. This isn't about losing power, it's about gaining connection. And according to the 6 psychology principles of family communication, warmth is the core predictor of sustained respect. Let me bring you into the experience of Linda Cooper, a 73-year-old mother from Rochester, New York. Linda used to communicate with what she called a strong mother voice, the same voice she used when raising her children in the 1980s. She didn't mean to sound harsh, she simply carried the communication habits of a different era. Her daughter, Ashley, once confessed, "Mom, I love you, but sometimes you talk to me like I'm still 14. Linda was shocked. She felt she was being helpful, offering guidance, using her life experience. But in reality, her tone fell into what researchers describe in the 10 characteristics of highly toxic parents, patterns not defined by cruelty, but by a lack of emotional adaptation. It wasn't the message, it was the delivery. After attending a senior communication workshop, Linda learned one transformative idea: your children don't need you to be a supervisor, they need you to be a supporter. She worked on shifting her tone, from directive to compassionate, from instructive to curious. She began asking questions like, "How do you feel about that?" and "Is there any way I can support you?" rather than telling Ashley what she should do. Over time, Ashley noticed the change. She began visiting more often, staying longer, sharing deeper parts of her life. Their relationship softened. Respect grew naturally, not because Linda demanded it, but because she created the emotional conditions where respect could flourish. This shift is also deeply connected to the 4 parenting foundations for healthy senior relationships: emotional availability, supportive presence, mindful speech, and boundary awareness. Parents who communicate with warmth carry the characteristics of highly respected elders, while those who maintain authority-based communication often exhibit the 9 signs associated with relational distance. And here is the one thing most seniors never consider: adult children respond far more to tone than content. Your tone determines whether your message feels like love or pressure. Data from the American Psychological Association shows that aging parents who adopt warm communication patterns experience higher emotional closeness, increased frequency of contact, and lower conflict rates with their adult children. In contrast, those who cling to authority-based habits unknowingly fall into the 10 characteristics of strained parent-child dynamics. Before we continue to the next habit, let me check something important. Are you still watching and following along? If you're still here at paragraph 3, type number 2 in the comments so I know you're with me. And while you're here, don't forget to like, share, And subscribe to Golden Age Wisdom so more seniors can learn how to improve their relationships and age with dignity. Habit number 3, staying open-minded as your children change. One of the most overlooked habits that keeps parents respected in later life is the ability to stay open-minded as their children evolve. Many seniors feel confused, even frustrated, when they see how differently their adult children live compared to how they raised them. New beliefs, new careers, new parenting styles, new lifestyles, everything today moves faster than it ever has. But here's the truth that psychologists emphasize: respect is preserved when parents show curiosity, not criticism. This idea fits directly into the 6 psychology principles that support healthy aging relationships, especially the principle of adaptive acceptance, a mindset that helps parents remain connected even when they don't fully understand their children's choices. Let's look at George Ramirez, a 79-year-old father living in Tampa, Florida. George spent most of his life believing that stability meant choosing a single career and sticking to it. But his son, Daniel, shifted jobs 3 times in 4 years. George didn't understand it. He felt it was irresponsible. So, whenever Daniel mentioned work, George would lecture him about commitment, responsibility, and how things were in his day. Their conversations became tense. Daniel called less. Their relationship grew colder. Everything changed one afternoon when George attended a senior support group where a facilitator shared the 10 characteristics of respected elders, highlighting that respected parents express curiosity, not correction, about their adult children's lives. The facilitator explained the 4 parenting foundations that help seniors maintain strong bonds, emphasizing the power of open-minded listening. George had unknowingly slipped into behaviors that matched 9 signs of a parent who struggles to emotionally adapt, signs often associated with aging patterns seen of highly toxic family dynamics. Not because George was toxic, but because his approach no longer matched the world his son lived in. So George tried something new. The next time Daniel talked about work, George simply asked, "How do you feel about where you are now?" No lecture. No criticism. Just genuine curiosity. Daniel's response surprised him. His son opened up, sharing fears, hopes, and the pressure of modern work culture. George realized something big: being respected didn't mean being right, it meant being understanding. By practicing this one thing, open-minded curiosity, George shifted the entire tone of their relationship. Research from the University of California shows that aging parents who stay mentally flexible display the characteristics of highly admired elders, while those who hold tightly to old beliefs often fall into the 10 characteristics of parents whose children keep emotional distance. Openness communicates safety. Safety invites trust. Trust builds respect. So how do you develop this habit? Start by replacing judgment with questions. Instead of saying, "I would never do that," try saying, "Help me understand why that matters to you." This simple shift uses one of the strongest how-to principles in modern family psychology, allowing your adult child to feel seen rather than corrected. When parents embrace change, not resist it, they become the kind of elders whose wisdom feels relevant, whose presence feels comforting, and whose respect naturally deepens with time. Habit number 4, showing consistency in kindness and reliability. Another powerful habit that keeps parents respected well into their later years is the ability to be consistent in kindness and reliability. Many seniors assume that respect is about wisdom, age, or the sacrifices they made when raising their children. While those things matter, modern psychological research tells us something deeper. Adult children respect parents who treat them with steady kindness, not occasional warmth mixed with sudden criticism or emotional unpredictability. Consistency builds trust, and trust builds long-term respect. This idea fits directly into the 6 psychology principles related to relational security, and it forms a core part of the 4 parenting foundations for maintaining strong bonds in senior years. To understand the importance of consistency, let me tell you about Margaret Fuller, a 74-year-old grandmother from Boise, Idaho. Margaret described herself as loving but honest, which often meant she switched rapidly between affection and criticism. One day she praised her son Ethan for how he was raising his kids. The next day, she scolded him for small things like letting them stay up too late or giving them too much screen time. Ethan once told her, "Mom, I never know which version of you I'm going to get." That sentence stayed with Margaret for days. She didn't intend to be unpredictable, it was simply how she expressed care. But as her therapist later explained, inconsistency often shows up among the 10 characteristics of strained parent-adult-child relationships, and in more extreme cases reflects patterns of highly toxic parenting. Again, not because Margaret was toxic, but because unpredictability creates emotional tension in the relationship. Adult children may then display the 9 signs of pulling away: fewer visits, shorter conversations, guarded sharing, and emotional distance. Determined to change, Margaret practiced one thing every day: pausing before she reacted. Instead of jumping into judgment, she tried asking questions like, "How do you think that's working for you?" or "Is there anything you'd like help with?" Over time, she developed what psychologists call the characteristics of highly respected parents: steady emotional tone, dependable kindness, and a relational presence that feels safe. The results were remarkable. Ethan began calling her more often. He asked for advice willingly. He even invited her to stay with the family longer during holidays. For the first time in years, Margaret felt deeply respected, not because she demanded it, but because she earned it through consistency. Research from the Journal of Family Psychology confirms this. Parents who model predictable kindness and emotional stability strengthen long-term attachment with their adult children. They become anchors, people who offer peace in a chaotic world. And that stability is one of the strongest how-to strategies for keeping respect alive in later life. Before we move on to the next habit, I want to ask something important. If you're still watching and following along at paragraph 5, type number 4 in the comments so I know you're still with me. And of course, please like, share, and subscribe to Golden Age Wisdom so more seniors can learn how to protect their relationships, strengthen family bonds, and age with wisdom. Habit number 5, practicing gratitude and positive recognition. The 5th habit that keeps parents respected in later life is one that might seem small, but its impact is enormous: practicing gratitude and offering positive recognition. Many seniors underestimate how deeply adult children crave appreciation, not for grand achievements, but for the daily efforts they make while balancing careers, families, finances, and personal challenges. When parents show gratitude consistently, it strengthens emotional bonds, increases warmth, and makes adult children feel seen. According to modern family research, gratitude is one of the strongest predictors of healthy aging relationships across the 6 psychology models studied in adult attachment. To understand how powerful this habit is, let me tell you about Ruth Dawson, a 76-year-old widow from Cleveland, Ohio. Ruth's daughter, Monica, had been helping Ruth quietly for years, driving her to appointments, picking up groceries, paying utility bills when money was tight. But Ruth rarely said thank you. She assumed her daughter knew she was grateful. Over time, however, Monica began feeling emotionally drained. She once admitted to a friend, "I don't need a medal. I just need my mom to notice what I do." When Ruth eventually overheard her daughter's frustration, she felt heartbroken. She never meant to seem ungrateful. She simply grew up in a generation where appreciation was shown through actions, not words. But when she attended a senior workshop at her local community center, she learned something eye-opening. One of the instructors outlined the 10 characteristics of aging parents who remain respected, and right in the middle of the list was this: they express appreciation often and sincerely. Right below it was a contrasting pattern, one of the 10 characteristics of parents whose relationships with adult children gradually weaken: they assume gratitude is understood rather than spoken. That single insight changed Ruth's entire approach. Starting that very afternoon, Ruth began practicing one thing every day: voiced gratitude. She said thank you whenever Monica helped her. She left notes on the kitchen table. She sent small messages saying, "I appreciate you more than you know." At first, Monica was surprised, then touched, then deeply relieved. Ruth began to display what psychologists call the characteristics of highly admired elders: warmth, acknowledgement, and emotional maturity. These qualities reduce the 9 signs of relational strain and increase trust and closeness instead. Gratitude also carries profound scientific weight. Studies conducted by the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley found that regular expressions of appreciation improve long-term relationship satisfaction, increase emotional resilience, and reduce conflict within families. Gratitude shifts the brain away from stress responses and toward what psychologists call prosocial bonding, a state that strengthens emotional ties. This is one of the most powerful how-to strategies for sustaining lifelong respect. So how do you develop this habit? You begin by noticing. Notice the time your children give you. Notice the energy they spend supporting you. Notice the sacrifices they make, often quietly. Then, put that recognition into words. Even something simple like, "Thank you for being so good to me," can soften your relationship in ways you never imagined. The truth is, adult children remember appreciation far longer than they remember lectures, criticism, or advice. Gratitude is not just polite, it's healing. It makes your presence comforting rather than demanding, uplifting rather than heavy. When parents give genuine gratitude, children respond with respect that grows naturally, lovingly, and without force. It becomes a shared cycle of kindness, one that deepens with age, not weakens. Closing. As we reach the final part of this discussion, it becomes clear that respect in later life is not something that simply arrives with age. It is something we actively nurture, protect, and embody. The 5 habits you have learned throughout this video are more than just behavioral guidelines. They are lifelong values rooted in dignity, emotional intelligence, and the deep human desire to stay connected with the people we love the most, our children. In a time when so many families struggle with distance, misunderstandings, and emotional fatigue, these habits remind us that influence does not disappear with age. Instead, it transforms. It grows softer, wiser, and more meaningful. When parents practice humility, emotional openness, and the ability to give space for their adult children to grow, they demonstrate the very characteristics of highly respected elders across cultures and generations. These are not just polite gestures, they are psychological anchors that reinforce trust and affection. Children, no matter how old they are, still look to their parents for wisdom, stability, and emotional safety. And when parents model these habits, consistency, empathy, accountability, and lifelong learning, respect naturally increases. Families become healthier. Communication becomes gentler. And the bond between generations becomes stronger instead of fading away. The truth is, many elderly parents unknowingly slip into habits that create distance. They may focus too much on control, repeat patterns from their own upbringing, or fall into negative behaviors without realizing how they affect their relationships. That is why understanding the difference between nurturing habits and toxic tendencies is crucial. Every parent, regardless of age, has the power to shift their role from rule giver to respected mentor, someone their children admire, trust, and willingly care for in return. These habits help ensure that aging does not equal loneliness, misunderstanding, or loss of authority. Instead, they allow parents to age with confidence and emotional peace. Ask yourself, which of these habits do I already practice? Which ones do I want to strengthen? Because the journey to becoming a respected elder is not about perfection, it is about awareness and effort. Even one small change in your communication style, your tone, or your willingness to listen can dramatically shift how your children see you. Respect grows through everyday behaviors, not grand actions. Your presence, your patience, your words, and your choices all carry influence. And with the right habits, that influence becomes a legacy your children will remember with gratitude, not resentment. Before you leave, I want to encourage you to take the next step. If this message resonates with you, even just one insight, one reflection, or one reminder, please support this channel, Golden Age Wisdom, by liking this video, sharing it with other seniors or families who might benefit, and subscribing so you never miss future lessons on aging with dignity, purpose, and emotional strength. Your journey toward becoming a wiser, more respected elder does not end here. This is just the beginning of a more meaningful chapter, one filled with self-growth, deeper connections, and the kind of wisdom that inspires the next generation. Thank you for watching, and may your golden years shine with understanding, respect, and love.